Welcome to the drain layout. Leaving work so we can go work on the train layout. A work night at the train layout. That'll be relaxing. Got a pizza. Gotta have something to eat. Alright, so this is Athearn ready to roll locomotive, but you said you changed the decoder out on it, right?
The decoder in and keep alive.
So we put a different decoder, or oh, it didn't have a decoder, right?
It had a decoder in it factory, but the rear Mars light wouldn't come on.
So no Mars light on the original one. So we change out the decoder, put a keep alive in there, and we're testing it out. It's a nice looking locomotive. Welcome to the Nearly Historical Railroad channel. Last time we were out here, we were working on this bridge right there. So I'm just gonna kind of keep working on that a little bit, but I'm gonna try and get ties in here. We're gonna try and figure out what to do with this because this is like code 70 rail. My turnout I built is code 55, smaller rail. This here is code 55, I think. I don't know. So anyways, I might tear this rail out. We'll keep the ties, of course. But yeah, we'll see how far we can get with this, and who knows what else is gonna happen. So have to stick around and see. There's a little side project we're working on. This is a Walters kit we're going to be using for our little intermodal yard. This is not Colorado Southern stuff. This is a little bit more modern, but you know, hey, we can stretch time frames in our layout if we want to. All right, well, that didn't turn out real pretty, but you're not gonna see it too much. Clean a little bit of old glue off. Okay, so stop the video. Okay, so I'm actually editing this video right now that I just stopped, but I wanted to jump in real quick because this next section of the video, we're fixing up this bridge, this trestle, and so you'll see that. But what's kind of cool is why it needs to be fixed. And if you haven't seen the video in Layout Update 7, that one there, I want you to check that out after this video because it was kind of fun. It shows where this bridge came from, and I just had fun doing it. So I just want to make sure you watch that. I will put a link at the end of this video when it's done, so you can go check out Layout Update 7. All right, no further ado, without further ado, something like that. All right, let's keep editing. We'll see you later. This is what we call the roll test. Whenever we put new trucks on a car or fix them up or something, we see how far it'll roll down this hill. Pretty decent. I've seen better, but it's pretty good though. And actually, that's pretty good. It's not supposed to be level. So Jim, you've got that jig thingy, huh? The set ties. I hand laid all these in here. Fast Tracks makes ties do this a lot easier, but you know, why make it easy? And then we need to run these, so I forgot that Jim's got a jig, so let's use that. So we're loading up the tie jig. I just gave it that name. And we're gonna use that to lay these ties. You like to do 2 coats so it soaks in good?
At least 2. Sometimes 3 or 4, but 2. Okay, that'll soak in and seal the wood. So when you lay down the ties, they just go.
So we let that dry a little bit and then put another one in?
Yes. In the meantime,
another coat? Okay.
irregularities in here.
Yeah, maybe should have filed it down.
No, I mean irregularities. I don't put them in.
Oh,
this is where I move them around.
Right.
So that the ties are all not perfect. But this one's going to require a little wait and a little time before they lift that tape.
This is code 70 rail. This is code 55 rail. Need to connect them together. So I put a regular rail joiner on here, which works for code 70. But this is taller than this is. So this is rail joiner is slid on there, and this is going to sit on top of the rail joiner. I'm not going to slide this rail into the rail joiner. That's just going to set it on top, and that comes out perfectly flush on the top of the rail, or at least really close. I could take this rail joiner at this end and kind of squish it down a little bit, kind of squish it, maybe with some pliers, and that would sit perfectly on there. So we're hand laying track over here at Romley, and I didn't get my board quite flush with that one, so we just added a little bit of balsa wood in there. It's kind of a little shim, and yeah, that's how you fix that.
This is a Proto 1000, 1 or 2, I think it's 1000. Anyway, it's Proto when Lifelike had Proto before they sold it to Wathers. Hang on, he's videoing this. John put in LEDs so that when this is the tail end, it's red, and when it's the front end, it's white, and then it reverses. And I take it you're also going to put LEDs in these, right? You're going to put LEDs in here? Yeah. Oh, okay.
And they'll be connected to the gyro light.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we bored the holes out of there.
Yes.
And put new grills in there.
Yes, for sound.
Grills that you can see through.
Yes.
And so the sound is much better now.
It has a place to get out.
I guess if you're going to have an accident, have it at the fire department.
Doesn't get anything.
So
It shouldn't, yeah, it didn't work.
So one of the other things that we're working on tonight, my dad, Don, and Scott, they're working on behind the old control panel. Remember, this thing was started like back in like the 70s. So we're replacing some toggle switches, and we're
This one
getting rid of a lot of the wires and rewiring stuff because it's scary. So look at that old toggle switch. Yeah, craziness. And now we're just digging through the garbage, and so this is one of the old switches, the buttons that was removed, was not used anymore. That kind of stuff. And what else do we got in here? What do I got? Oh my goodness. Okay, here's another old toggle switch that was used on a turnout, but we replaced it. So I mean, again, this thing like came from the 70s. So that's that. Okay, so we're gonna kind of review what we have done. I kind of hand laid these ties in here, and this turnout's not set, it's just sitting in there right now. And a lot of these ties will be trimmed even the PC board ones, I made them too long. Some of those will get trimmed up. We laid ties down the way down here. They're still drying, still got the tape on there. This section had code 70 track on it, or rail. I pulled that rail off. Left one side of the spikes on. Might be able to reuse those spikes, I think. So that's kind of all cleared off. I don't know how smooth and how level it is. I think it's probably all right. This little spot needed ties, so we added in some ties. I had some paint going a little bit, so I just kind of threw it on there as a base coat. The bridge still needs a little bit more work, but I got all the bents rebuilt. So like that guy really needed to be rebuilt, and that one did. I did that, and I don't, you know, maybe not prototypical, but whatever. I had to put little shims in here. This bridge always has been a little bit weird, a little bit of space. This had a huge space in it. I just put shims under there. You know, maybe they might have done that. That's what I decided. And get to this in a second. This right here, we have talked about putting that other bridge in here, but we have to kind of build that bridge. I'm gonna leave this here for the moment so we can get the main line going. Still probably put that other bridge in here. This is nice and level. This bridge is actually super elevated. So I'm going super elevated, which is at an angle down this way, to level to here. So it's a little bit of a problem. So this side was very low and this was almost high. So I just stacked ties onto here. Then I'll come back later once that's dried on there really good. And I'll come with a file and just kind of file these down. Most of the tile will probably go away. But then I can kind of make a transition from level to super elevated. So super elevated just means that the track is like that. So, you know, I guess help keep things on the track as you're going fast around the curve. Yeah, so I did actually get some rail together. This is code 55 on this section. This was code 70. And that's fine because that is going to go into this flex track in the mountain. We'll never see it. And it's code 70. So that's fine. That's not connected yet, but we will get that connected. So I showed you a little bit of a trick right here. Soldering those together, getting the different heights of the rail to match up the area for St. Elmo. And Jim has laid more ties all the way up to this point now. So that's good. And we're just gonna lay flex track in here because I can't get spikes in there. Yes, you should lay the track before you build a mountain, but I've never been known to do stuff in the right order all the time. So deal with it. So at some point, maybe soon, I'll actually get these connected. This was a whole separate piece from a different part of the layout. That was a separate piece from a different part of the layout. That was a separate piece. So I'll get these connected in though. They're all code 55 rail. Should be pretty easy. And down here, we're already connected in down in here. And I have test run a locomotive up to here somewhere and it worked all right. I think that's it. That's it for the night. I was here, Don, my father, Don was here, and Jim and John, they were both here. Scott was here also. He brought some stuff to run, some pretty cool stuff. And John brought over from some stuff that he's been working on. You got to see that a little bit. So if you like it, please subscribe, hit a thumbs up type of thing. And thank you for watching. Thanks, bye.